you kind of absorb it and you start looking at everybody. You know what I mean? You're like, just kind of suspect. The world seems a little more evil.
Around,
you know?
Hannah and I do this all the time. We walk around and, like, let's say we're at a store and there's some just guy that's a little off. We lean in and whisper to each other, like, that guy's a serial killer.
Definitely a body.
Definitely has a body in his trunk of his car.
Welcome to another episode of Don Draper's Den. On this podcast, we discuss branding and marketing and how it affects so many aspects of our lives. We also talk a bunch of trash about each other, about food and music and culture and nostalgia. We hope you're entertained and hope you can gain some insight from two marketing professionals. I'm Chris, and this is Ernie. In this podcast, we get into all kinds of things, mostly dark things. Halloween is upon us. We get into the dark side of marketing and even a little politics and horror movies. So it's a good one. Sit back and enjoy it. Guys, we want you to share this thing, subscribe, comment, help us blow this up. We're trying to make a go of this. With that, we appreciate your support as always. And without further ado, pour yourself a glass and let's get into this.
All right. Cheers.
All right, bullets. It's Halloween time, man.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
Yeah. It's spooky. Kids trying to watch the horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
They're asking me about watching it. They can't do it. I tell them there's things you can't unsee.
Yeah, right.
There's like spooky.
Yeah.
And then there's moments where you're like, ooh, I can't sleep at night.
Do you have
an
age range for the kids that they can start watching scary movies? Or
yeah, it's totally all right. When I was born in 1981.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Friday the 13th comes out. I saw them as they came out. Right, so for anybody, that's like the first one was like 78 or 77, and then 80, 82, 85, 88. Like I was just a wee little lad, and I was watching Friday the 13th like it was just what it was. And then The Omen came out. That was like 87. Nightmare on Elm Street. I saw all of it as it came out. But looking back, they're kind of like...
At what age, though?
When they came out. So I'd have been like 5, 7, 8 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
Like when the year they came out. Especially when VHS was... Like how exciting was it? You'd go to Blockbuster or whatever it was, right? And like you'd have to look through. It was kind of like buying an album, you know, like a CD, because you didn't know.
Yeah.
Right, and back then you couldn't test it out; you just had to kind of guess. So you'd look for a super like scary-looking cover, and that was your night. You know, I kind of miss those days, right?
Yeah,
little nostalgia. Anyway, so yeah, but I saw all that stuff when it came out. So like now, I'm gauging this for my kids, but they're not. I don't know, man. It's just they're not as tough as you know what I mean. Like I feel weird. I don't want them to see too much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I remember. So I started late in terms of watching like horror films and stuff. I never really been into it.
Yeah.
And one reason why is because I remember I was in elementary school, and I was in elementary school. We're entering into Blockbuster, and they had one of those big cutouts of Freddy Krueger. Okay. And my brother, Erwin, he dared me. He says, "I dare you to look at the picture of Freddy Krueger the whole time while we're picking out a movie, and I guarantee you won't be able to sleep at night." And so I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm like a little kid. I'm trying to impress my big brother. Yeah. And so
how much older is he, by the way?
He's 5 years older than me.
5, okay, that's a good chunk of change.
You know, if I was in, you know, elementary school, he was like in early high school, I guess. Yeah. So I'm sitting there looking at Freddy Krueger's face, all the features. I'm looking at the, you know, the marks on his burn marks on his face and everything. Right. And he was right. Like that whole night, I couldn't sleep. I had like nightmares for a long time of Freddy Krueger, and I didn't even watch the movie. Just looking at him. Right. And so for the longest time, I was never really into it. Like if my friends and I would watch scary movies, I remember just kind of like, I would watch it, I would endure it, but I was kind of like look off above the TV. Like I couldn't watch the whole thing. Right. But then recently, especially, Hannah's really into horror flicks and scary movies. So, now I'm much older
dude.
now, so
Yeah,
I can handle these kind of movies. Dude, I'm a softie. I'm Hallmark movies.
That's all I need, man. You come in all tired and whatnot. I'm like, what's wrong, man? You're Freddy Krueger. I couldn't sleep.
No, I've been all Hallmark movies, Christmas movies. I'm all into the rom-com stuff.
There you are.
But then when I met Hannah, she couldn't watch any of that. She's like, I can't watch this all the time. Like, I need some scary stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, here's the deal. Between when September hits, September 1, all the way till December.
Yeah.
It's all spooky season, so you could watch whatever. So she literally does like a countdown, and then we're watching Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunting, all the scary movies. And so now
Is there a particular scary movie?
She's indoctrinated me into it.
That you guys like look forward to, like an annual?
She likes all the Rob Zombie stuff. First of all,
yeah. Okay, yeah. House of a Thousand Corpses and the Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects.
Great soundtrack. Yeah, I mean, no surprise, Rob Zombie. The consummate musician and all that. But yeah, man. Yeah, I remember. I think it was the Devil's Rejects. Particularly good soundtrack. I like rediscovered the Allman Brothers because they did. What's that song? Ride. Crap. I'll think of it. One more silver dollar. Oh, what the hell is that song? And a whole bunch of the Joe Walsh tune. Rocky Mountain High. Anyways, so scary. Yeah, and the music is better. I get to hear, like, you turn on the radio and there's like actually metal for a change. There's they always go to the same old standard. Marilyn Manson. We get the Beautiful People going. We throw some 9 Inch Nails closer. Yeah. There's a little now. It's Rob Zombie, no longer White Zombie. They throw on some like more obscure Metallica. All right.
But now I love it. Fun. Now I enjoy watching it. So, October, Halloween, this whole fall season is my favorite now. It's just so much fun. It's enjoyable. We have something that we're connecting. And now, obviously, we're into ghost hunting. Yeah. And so,
Gets all extra spooky.
Yeah, we get all our equipment out. Right. Start recording ghost activity. Yeah. So, but it's interesting because her philosophy with, our daughter, she gets to watch these movies, and she doesn't really, I was kind of like, sure, I was like, I don't know. I've never, had my sons watch these movies at a young age. I don't know about having Lily watch it, but I let Hannah make that decision. Right. And man, Lily's been watching scary movies since she was in kindergarten. Nothing seems to really scare. I mean, it does scare her. She has to pull away at time, but no, she wants to watch it all. Go to heavy metal concerts. So I'm like, I guess I'll find out way too late if there's any repercussions to that.
From personal experience, right? I can say that when I was real young, I remember having the zombies in the Thriller video. I more associated them with my friends. Ernie's just getting over a cold, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. We're pushing through. I associated those guys with my friends, which is a very interesting little kind of thing. But eventually, it kind of wears off, right? Like when I see The Exorcist, I'm more like, ooh, look at the makeup. Yeah. Oh, it's a cool effect. Except for the extended cut where the gymnast chick goes down the stairs upside down on her hands.
Why do they got to do that all the time? There's something creepy about these scary creatures crawling all fours up on the ceiling and come on now.
So unnatural. Yeah, man. Yeah,
it's freaky stuff.
I dig. So I dig that. I dig the vibe. I dig the aesthetic too. As a metalhead, it's nice. I could throw the boots back on. Yeah. Get some layers going. I used to have my leather jacket. That I'll get another one, and it just feels right. Heavy metal, horror, when like the leaves are falling. Yeah, it's cold, crispy night.
Good stuff.
Yeah, feels right.
Well, the recent one we watched was that Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele is a really good director, and he's gotten into horror movies. Yeah, we watched one of his films. Yeah, where I can't remember, it's Belong or something like that. It's where it's a
family.
Yeah, it's a family where there's a diverse couple a black and a white, a black guy, white girl, lady, and boyfriend, girlfriend, and they go to meet his parents, only to find out that they have figured out how to hypnotize.
Yeah. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Hypnotize the the black guys into becoming slaves.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's dark. You know what's wild?
It was very well done. Jordan Peele, I tell you what,
he's so good.
He is so good.
He's so So I love the perspective, right? Because like there's some moments that throw back to what are those old movies like blaxploitation films is what they're called, right? And so there's some cool like elements there, like if you know, you know, but also the perspective, the conspiracy theories. Like there's a whole part of like I'm just not in the culture. I don't know, right? So there's a bunch of theories like that's reasonably pervasive, right? Like that's one of the conspiracy theories that in Black America, it's like, hey man, they're like abducting bodies and stuff like this, and it's like, huh? But then to highlight and kind of leverage that and like, oh cool man, I think I heard of that, and you see the movie and you're like, oh, that would be terrifying.
That would be terrifying.
That is not cool, man.
I gotta get me my coffee here. My throat's like struggling.
That's a nice cup, buddy.
I know. Look at that.
Hey.
Teamlana Design Group.
Holler. I enjoy those. My kids and I were looking through. We got kind of a scary one. Not that good. It was all right. I can't remember the tarot card. No, tarot, I think it was. It was all right. But while searching through Netflix and Prime and everything else, trying to find a movie, we finally landed on this one and had to go through several previews. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice.
But the one fairly recently, it was like 2014 or 19, something like that. And I'm like, oh man, that first one. When was the last time you saw the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Well, first of all, no, I don't think I've ever watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Remember, I started late. So I have that list of all the movies you got to watch or else you're un-American.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a list of like horror movies you need to watch because like I'm behind.
Yeah.
Like Silence of the Lambs stuff, check.
So good.
Saw. Yeah. I think I'm caught up on Saw stuff.
I went to like 3D.
I've watched enough of the Friday the 13th, and although I need to watch more of the Michael Myers, like the new ones. I've watched the old ones, and they're kind of cheesy.
They're a little cheesy,
but I'm interested in the most recent one that came out.
Yeah, I like the Supernatural. So I like the Exorcist thing.
I watched the Exorcist one, so I'm caught up there.
I wish that I was like more religious, because it just hits different. Like if you have somebody who's like super religious, especially back in the day, people were losing their minds. Yeah, when it was in the theater, it's not whatever that came out like a long time ago, man. It was 73 or something. It's like older than you think. And like there's some wild stuff in there, man. Yeah, they put that little girl through it. Yeah, like damn.
Did you watch the new one? It was, I don't know if it's Exorcist 2, but it's the one with Russell Crowe.
The Pope's Exorcist, I believe.
Yeah, that was pretty good too.
We saw the preview.
That was pretty good too.
Yeah, I didn't.
I started the Smile 1. Partly because I saw the trailer for Smile 2, and I thought that looked really good. Yeah, but I never finished Smile 1.
How did it feel while you're?
I think it felt good, except that we have so many things on our list to watch that if for whatever reason I don't get through it or it takes a couple of days, next thing you know I'm on to a new series. Yeah. Or like a new episode of another series we're watching comes on. I'm like, oh, let's go watch that. Yeah. And I get distracted. So.
Yeah. I like. I like some of the stories behind it. Right. Of course, who's in like famous stuff like Ed Gein. I just saw because all the serial killer comes out. Oh yeah. All that stuff gets pushed during Halloween too. So Ed Gein. I've read this great book, Cannibal Killers. That my ex-wife was one of the first books. I was like, hey, you should check this out. It made sense at the time. It made sense, but in hindsight, I'm like, it might have been a little strong. Could be a little off-putting, but
it's hilarious.
But she liked it.
Well, anyways. Yeah, and Hannah really likes serial killer stuff, so we really get into that. Mindhunters is a show on Netflix.
Okay,
so
Heard
good.
Of that. Yeah.
So good. And they only lasted like 2 seasons.
Yeah. Oh, they were profiling.
Yeah. It's like, it kind of goes back to when the FBI started understanding that there is a thing about these serial killers.
Right.
And they came, I don't know if they made it sound like on the show that the FBI experts came up with the term serial killers, so I'm assuming that, but who knows what the real truth is. But that they started putting these profiles together. Right. And that was so fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, we really get into the serial killer stuff. The most recent documentary thing we're watching is the Zodiac Killer.
Right.
We just started it last night, so.
How did he do his thing? Was he like a knife guy or a gun guy? Or?
We literally just started it.
Okay.
Now, if Hannah were here, she'd know the whole story.
Yeah.
So, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I'm. But the darkness of the thoughts, at a certain point, I felt like I was filled up. Like at a certain point, you contain so much of that information.
Uh-huh.
For me, maybe I'm sensitive. Look, because listen, there's like guys there's warriors or soldiers, there's cops, there's people seeing the real stuff, and that's a lot to deal with. So I can't have too many of those thoughts.
Cops seeing the real stuff, by the way, on Hulu.
Yeah.
Grotesquerie. So good, dude. Okay. So good.
Sounds great. What is it about?
It's about, how do I say it without it giving it away? Basically, it's about this female detective.
Yeah.
And she has her own personal struggles.
Yeah.
But she is on a case that's pretty demonic-like and pretty religious-like, where like the killings are for example, they set the serial killer sets up the killings like it's like the Last Supper. Yeah, like things like that. Like it's really dark. Really dark.
Yeah,
kind of reminded me a little, like the killings reminded me a little bit of Seven with Brad Pitt. I do remember watching that a long time ago.
Incredible movie, dude.
Yeah, very good.
That's an amazing movie. Yeah, I think Denzel Washington was supposed to play Morgan Freeman.
I learned that too.
Yeah, turned it down or whatever.
Yeah, he was on that that trailer show with Jamie Foxx, I think, and Jamie Foxx asked him.
That's right. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. And then, dude, and Denzel didn't know one of Jamie Foxx's movie.
Yeah, right.
Oh. Classic. You could tell he was hurt.
Yeah,
that was a funny interview.
But yeah, he was supposed to. That's where I learned that too.
Yeah.
That Denzel Washington was supposed to play the part of Brad Pitt, but he's like, it's just so dark. Yeah. It was dark, but it's so good.
So good. Yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, horror movies. I love it. I can't get enough. But I did go overboard on the serial killer, so I know a lot about it.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? It kind of taints the way you look at the world. You know what I mean? In my opinion. Because it's like, look, I mean, really, what's the representation of the population? Like 0.001%. I mean, it's got to be so small. Thank God.
Yeah, right?
And so with that, you kind of absorb it and you start looking at everybody. You know what I mean? You're like, just kind of suspect. The world seems a little more evil.
Around, Hannah and I do this all the time. We walk around and, like, let's say we're at a store and there's some just guy that's a little off. We lean in and whisper to each other like, that guy's a serial killer.
Definitely a body.
Definitely is a body in his trunk of his car.
Yeah,
look, did you see he just bought a tarp?
Yeah, yeah. He's like looking at hammers a little too long. Yeah.
Or one time we were in Jungle Gyms and the guy must have been a butcher, but he had like blood splats on the back of his shirt, and Hannah's like tapping me like, that guy's a serial killer. Look at his shirt. I'm like, he's obviously a butcher. On the front side he has an apron on. Like, I don't care. I don't care. He's hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, man. That's I love people watch it. But yeah, they're among us. You can't call them out. They're slick. So, horror movie. Here's what happens, though, right? I start looking at these horror movies, right? Because I'm like all about it. I want to see those just little snippets. Usually it's YouTube, and I'll start seeing, the Friday the 13th, like funny moments, right? We've talked about this before, from Friday the 13th, where he like gets somebody, Jason, cuts somebody or something, and the wallet falls, and then it's like American
a
Express.
MasterCard. Yeah.
Don't leave home without it. And then, right, we said, like, they intentionally left time on it so everybody in the theater could be, don't leave home without it. Right? So, I'm seeing that, and it starts. So, like, speaking of having a kind of dark perspective, I guess I started to get to thinking like the darkness in marketing, because I'm kind of a nerd about the marketing. I mean, it's part of the job, bro.
Yeah.
If you want to see the world in a negative light, just go back and take a look. Like, it's in mythology, it's in history, just in memoriam, and it's forever that, like, hey, the overarching principle is, hey, let's, to hell with the people be damned. Let's not service anybody, let's just make the money.
Yep.
The selling of one's soul.
Yep.
Right, that same old what's his name, Faust. Right, Faust sells his soul famously, right, as the story goes, and just so many cliched examples at this point. But the interesting thing, and I'll start with the philosophy. This is what kind of pinned it in my head for this episode was, okay, we're the tree. Here's my highfalutin analogy. We're the tree. We have our roots, our moral and ethical roots grow into the ground. The deeper our roots are founded, the further up we can grow.
Okay.
And essentially, the more kind of righteous our actions, right? The higher we can grow towards an ascending, a higher ideal. But forever, two things are around us, right? The winds of influence, let's say, our environment, whatever that might look like, right? But the winds that are well out of our control, right? I picture temptations almost. And then the gravity that is ever present, which is really the greed. And it is fascinating how many stories, when you really dig, you don't have to dig that deep to find, we fell prey again. Enron, cigarette companies, who else? Like the cigarette companies back in the 40s and 50s, man, they were prescribing cigarettes as a way to help you breathe better, to help improve. Everybody knew.
Dude, I think it would help me right now, actually.
Sure, give in.
Yeah, right.
But everybody knew.
Yep.
Everybody. And they marketed it, and they swept it under the rug. Nothing to see here, right? Thalidomide, if I'm saying that correctly, thalidomide, which was there to help with some disease, right? Really, it was just snake oil. But they were giving it to women when those women were with kids. Not only nursing, but they were pregnant. And then the kids are born with deformities years later. They knew. The sugar, I mean, it's endless. The sugar companies, lobbyists, they say, we really got to increase our market share. Want to blow this business up. So what do? They pay and say, low fat.
Right.
Low fat's the way to go. Higher sugar content. And we now have an obesity epidemic.
Right.
No big deal.
Right.
We'll just sacrifice a whole generation of people. I mean, multiple generations of people at this point. The list is endless.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and then, another one. I mean, it goes on forever, right? But another one that really got me, that hurts, like Oxycontin. Bro. And then the thing about it is that these are like such large, maybe not institutions per se, but like certainly corporations and whatever, that there's never any real come up for anybody. You know what I mean? Like the bad guy never gets caught. And it's dark, man. It's dark. All that, and I wonder about the marketers, the madmen.
Yeah.
Right. That pushed it. That they knew. Yeah. Lucky strike. It'll get you right. Whatever the thing. They make it look sexy. They sell it to kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's the downside of how when men can compartmentalize.
Yeah.
They can compartmentalize like my morals versus like my job, and my job is to sell more cigarettes or sell more, Oxycontin or what have you. And so that's my job. If I think too hard about what we're doing and start all of a sudden growing a conscience, well then, I'm out of a job. It reminds me of Daddy Daycare. Remember that movie with Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, vaguely.
He didn't want to sell the cereal anymore,
right?
Because the cereal basically was all sugar. There's no health benefits at all to it.
Okay.
And so he's like, "What am I doing? What are we doing this for?" And so he ended up leaving and decided to open up Daddy Daycare.
Yeah.
Was that whole idea?
Right?
Once you start growing a conscience,
how many movies are like that?
and you start realizing that, like, what am I selling here?
Yeah.
So I think that's also a downside of people where they're able to separate work from their morals.
Yeah.
But you see it, unfortunately, all the time.
All the time.
Right?
Yeah,
in the GMOs, even in fast food.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Oh, my God, bro.
Think about
it's
McDonald's.
Endless. So, all right. So check this one out, right? So marketing to kids, right? First of all, the cartoon characters, the whole apparatus of fast food stuff, right? The colors, right? The fact that there's a playground in the damn restaurant where they're serving hot garbage,
right?
Right? And I mean, as an American, like we all love McDonald's, but then again, put a street drug down. You know what I mean? Most lab rats are going to be like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? Give me more fat, more sugar, more booze, whatever it is. So it's hard to say no.
Yeah, but did you know that the last, and I don't know if I'm exactly accurate on this, but like the last or second to last CEO of McDonald's was let go because for once in a long time they didn't hit their goals, and part of the reason was because he tried to introduce to the menu more healthier options. And so if you remember at that time there was a lot of like here's salads and here's all these things, right? And all in all, like people know that it's junk food. They're not going there for healthy food options. They're going there for the flavor, the experience, the memories of when they're a kid, whatever. But we're not going there for health options. Just be who you are, right? So they've created this expectation and anticipation for their product, and then when they try to like change a little bit, in order to help the health conscious, like people are like, "What are you doing? That's not who you are."
Yeah, you're not going to sell crack rocks and be like, "This is a diet crack." No, just sell crack.
Right. Just
just it's fine.
Just sell it.
Yeah, there's an interesting blurb and sentiment that I've seen in going down this rabbit hole, where it was this fine line between greed and ambition, right? And that was the line that was being ridden.
Yeah,
that you have this thing that you're right, it is enjoyable, but how is it? And that gets back to that analogy, that kind of idea that really hit me. Like the deeper your roots of good kind of morals or whatever it might be. As you're saying, you literally said grow a conscience.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, that's part of the root system that grows.
Right.
And inevitably, I mean, now that you mention it, how many movies have that premise?
Right.
How many? I'm thinking of the Jim Carrey movie where he, Liar, Liar, right? He's the lawyer and everything.
Yeah.
And it wakes up one day, and here he is breaking his son's heart.
Yeah, and he has a conscience. Yep.
Yeah, and that I can't lie, he says.
Yep.
I mean, it's just so pervasive, but it's not modern, right? And not even like modern like the past 20 years. I mean, the past 2,000 years.
Yep. Even
if you go back to all kinds of mythology, there's tons of examples of like the corruptible spirit of man and all this kind of thing. So it's interesting how it's just always going to be with us, man.
Yep.
It's always going to be with us. There's not a damn thing we can do about it.
Unfortunately, it's easily justifiable to do some of those things and make some of those marketing decisions, even if they can be seen as evil. Because, hey, they want it anyways. They just don't know they want it.
Right? There's something there too, right? Yeah.
I'm not making you buy the bowl of sugar cereal. You are choosing to buy that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm also putting like little toys and cool pictures and putting a fun rabbit or a Tony Tiger, to make it compelling. But you don't have to buy it. There's other healthier options out there, right? But unfortunately, parents often look for the easier route for feeding their kids.
Convenient.
It's convenient. Here,
Easy.
look, just wake up in the morning, grab a box of your favorite cereal, pour yourself a bowl, and make sure you eat before you head out the door. Like, don't wake me up. I'm not cooking you eggs and bacon and all that stuff.
So then, and this gets, like, I have cereal in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I go to McDonald's, right? Like, I'm subject to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I'm not, nobody's self-righteous, but it does subsequently get it going on society as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because then you're like, oh, well, if you took the 5 minutes, 10, 20 minutes in the morning to make the breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
right? That means you're sitting down with your kid. They're probably going to have a discussion about the day,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now you're engaged, right? And so
Right.
that's additionally, it's not only are we doing the wrong by way of the kid and just feeding them sugar
Mm-hmm.
and empty calories and all this garbage, then it's also like, I'm tired, you're tired, we're all tired,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then it's like, but we're also robbing our kid at that moment, talking about whatever over eggs,
Yeah.
right? So it's like,
But it
insult
never,
to
that
injury.
doesn't ever really happen. Listen, a few years ago, I used to make it a point to wake up early. I would put on a pot of coffee for my wife. I would cook eggs and really nice breakfast for Lily in the
Apron on
morning.
and shit,
I'd cook really nice. And I remember I mastered all of the different egg techniques because that's what I do.
Up.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I could see, I never had that moment where eating breakfast and Lily's just sitting there. Hey, Dad, I have some stuff.
Gee whiz.
Gee whiz, Dad. Thank you so much for these eggs. In fact, it was like she ate a couple bites. She's like, I'm not really hungry right now. I'm like, okay, now I got to clean these dishes. I made all this food and I lost sleep.
Right.
So. No, here, listen. You got cereal.
Eat the goddamn cereal.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sleeping.
There's fruit.
Yeah.
You could get fruit, take it out into the bus with you, and just leave me alone. I'm going to bed. Right?
Get all bitter about it. Cook your own damn eggs.
I did because, dude, I did French omelets.
Damn.
Yeah, I did the whole thing. I didn't just say here scrambled eggs. I did English style scrambled eggs, American style scrambled eggs, sunny side up. I did eggs in a hole. I did French
Eggs in a hole?
omelet. Oh, you take toast.
Yeah.
You cut a circle in the middle.
Yeah.
You put that in a pan with butter as you're toasting it, and you crack an egg in the middle.
Huh.
Egg in a hole.
Okay.
Yeah. I did French toast.
French toast.
I did
Bomb.
pancakes, crepes.
Yeah.
Man, dude, my breakfast game is on point. But then when you just start getting like, I'm not hungry, then can I just eat a Pop-Tart? I'm like, no, okay, you just why don't you throw the Pop-Tart in my face at this point?
Yeah.
You're like, after I started hearing that kind of stuff, I'm like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Here, there's cereal. Get the cereal.
Easier.
Right?
Eat the cereal.
So they know that. Marketers know that, like, parents are going to take the easy way out.
Yeah.
Kids want the fun, sugary things.
Right.
And we're going to exploit that. And that's where I think the dark side comes. We're going to exploit that human nature of them. Wow. That's going to take the easy, the most pleasant route.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Pleasure-based. Basically, it's the marketing of sin. Right? Now, sin, again, not a religious guy. I just know about it. Like, the marketing, you want to, you don't want it, like, I can't remember all this. Gluttony, laziness, right? Lust. It just, feel good, relax, just stay in bed.
But listen, dude, the thing is, I remember some of the most fond memories I have with my dad. Yeah. Is our fast food dining experiences. He would take me to McDonald's, right. And especially during a time when they're, when you buy a Happy Meal, you get like a Hot Wheel car.
Hell yeah,
dude, those are fun. He would get me a Hot Wheel car,
right?
And he used to play with that. We would. He would get me those apple pies and made a big deal about it. Ooh, this is cheery hot apple pies. You look at it now as an adult, you're like, what is this? What am I eating?
It's not even,
But when you're a kid and your dad takes you there and you're eating, the cherry pies or going to Dairy Queen and eating the banana split or,
How often was it though? The thing for me is, maybe I only went there, and my dad worked at Mickey D's. He worked at Burger King. But how often did I go there, too? Right, by way of comparison, the average person, like, I don't tend to go there a lot now, but...
Dude, in my worst times of my life, I would drive to one McDonald's, order a meal, and as I'm driving to the office and see another McDonald's, 30 minutes later, I'll go and get another meal at McDonald's.
Oh, Ernie.
Okay, that's how much I loved fast food. Give me Taco Bell, give me Wendy's, give me Burger King, give me it all. And then if none of those even exist, and you can't find a street corner where you can't see one of those, give me gas station hot dogs.
Oh,
dude, God. Dude, give me the roller hot dogs.
Dude, did you know
guilty pleasures?
This is off the radar now. Did you know that Claire in our office, who's amazing, she's just tremendous, huge asset to the company, and a great lady, but did you know she put ranch on her hot dog yesterday?
Dude, don't get me started.
Did you know that she put ranch dressing on her hot dog?
Don't get me started.
What kind of animals are working here in Ohio, dude?
Her, you can never go to her and ask her what's her opinion on food. Because she literally disgraces food.
Damn.
Like
that wasn't out of the ordinary.
That's not out of the ordinary. We go to Skyline.
Yeah.
Okay. Chili on with pile of cheese on chili on spaghetti. What'd she do? Normal people put hot sauce on it. What did she do? Ketchup. Dude. No.
It's already good. Look,
when I saw that, I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, I'm not even from Cincinnati, and I know you don't do that. It's
you
like,
do that. You gotta have some class, some decorum. But in my opinion, first of all, I don't like salad.
And part of it, I think she does it just for the shock factor of everybody else.
Right.
It's so bad.
Just to see,
like
the look. My little girl's like that, man. Melody does that same thing, dude. She'll make the weirdest, just grossest looking stuff, and she's like, "What? It's fun.
Yeah,
I like it." I'm like, "You're disgusting."
Yeah,
you're disgusting.
You know, another dark side too is. You know how when social media or maybe search engine companies or what have you, they'll use algorithms in order to not only predict what you're going to be searching, but how do we keep them using our platform and make it and as a result cause them to be addicted to our software.
That was a pervasive. That is like the very essence of gaming. The very essence of gaming was just that. Can't put it down. And then the reward, and then the subsequent through technology, the not quite the gamification. We say the way we say it in business, but like gamifying, meaning like the look of it.
Yeah.
Right? Even YouTube, Instagram. How do you do it? You go bang, and as if it's a slot machine. Whoop. That's how you do it.
Yep.
Right. So even the interface is that.
Yeah.
Right. They've gamified it to make it more like, oh, what am I gonna get? I don't know. Let's see. And it's the dopamine. Like,
definitely some dark side that like if you let your conscience be start thinking for you, then you're gonna start questioning what are the motives behind some of the tactics, some of the design. But it's so there is a fine line with what marketers do, because like we're always trying to put images or text that's compelling the end user, the intended target audience to want to purchase.
Pull
you in.
Yeah.
Is that manipulation? Are we just giving you or painting you a picture so in such a way that compels you because we know this is something you're interested in?
Right.
But if you don't even know you're interested in this, then are we just manipulating you? I mean, there's so many conversations with
fine line, man. Right. But what seems particularly heinous is, I guess it's an easy one to see with kids. Right, because as you were describing before, let's put a playground inside the building, put cartoon characters and a toy, and so on and so on and so forth. And you're just like, all right.
Right.
Now we're just, why?
Even down to the colors. The red and yellow. Yeah. It is
makes us all think of food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Research show that those colors, right, are most effective for fast food restaurants. That's why you see it in, like, even Burger King has those colors.
Yep.
Wendy's has red in their colors, right? It's been proven, right, to attract people down to the colors, music, sound, the experience, right? The food, the consistency, the quality or lack thereof.
Right.
You know, it's all part of that whole brand experience. Is that manipulation, or are we just trying to give you a brand that you know you could rely on every time you set foot into that establishment?
Bro.
You don't have to come. You don't have to go.
But you sound like, so I think of, speaking of Denzel Washington, bring it back. Denzel Washington in American Gangster.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
As Frank, can't remember the last name. But he's, the consummate, he's the businessman's businessman when it comes to, if you didn't know he was selling heroin, and he's just selling shoes or whatever, right? There's that scene where Nicky Barnes, I believe it was cutting the drugs, right? And diluting the product. And of course, those drug dealers always call it the product for some stupid reason. But anyways, they're cutting the drugs and diluting the product. And he says, no, this is Blue Magic. And if you get Blue Magic, you buy Blue Magic, then that's what you get.
Yeah.
Right? And you can call it Red Magic if you cut it, but don't be, So it's this in his weird instance, there's a lot going on. One, because he's in a dark business. Right, he's just basically killing people. Right, terrible. Yeah. The philosophy on that one, right, is like, well, I didn't put the needle in your hand. Right. And you're right. You're right. He didn't do that.
No.
But why'd you even have to put it out there, though?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh man, you didn't have to set up shop there when everybody's already having hard times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that looks like a nice way out. Mm-hmm. Cheaper than a bottle of booze, it's more effective. So, but then on the other side of it, as a businessman, he also had the wherewithal to be like, no, if I market Blue Magic, I'm pretty sure it was called, then it ought to hit like this.
Yeah.
Right? It's very pure. And so he had this like really high standard for his heroin.
Yeah.
But it's still super dark, right?
Yeah, it's still super dark. That's why as marketers, marketers tend to... They have to be careful on what products or services they choose to market, because and to what extent. Yeah. I remember a long time ago, we had this opportunity to do some artwork and some promo pieces for a publishing company that published horror books and romance novels. Okay. I didn't think much of it. I'm like, well, yeah, cool. We could do some display ads and do some design there. Sure. And then they needed some cover art too. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we could do it. Right. Didn't think a whole lot of it until we got our first project. And then like just half nude men and women. Right. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so romance novel.
Yeah, I guess I never actually personally read any romance novels. Pretty light on so I didn't really think about it. It's just another job, and sure we could promote these type of things. And heck, we've never had this type of ask before, so sure, let's do it. Yeah, our first project, our designer said, "Hey, can this be our last one and only time we do this?" Right. Like they signed the contract, we did what they want us to do, but it's just uncomfortable. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Right. That's fair. Right. But it just reminded me that okay, we really do need to stop and think, what product or services are we promoting, and do we really believe in it? Yeah. And certainly we could market anything, but if you don't even have that confidence in the service or the product, it's hard to have passion in marketing it. Or you start making some ethical mistakes. Yeah, because I don't even believe in this thing, so let's just lie about it anyways.
And then that separation, that valley of, as you said, disconnecting right before, and then all of a sudden you're really in it for the money.
Yeah.
Right. And you've kind of gamified. There's just zero connection. And now you end up with, all the examples we've cited, right? It's like cigarettes don't kill you. Oxycontin's just the newer, better, heroin, and it's just endless.
Yep. I remember we worked with this one company. I won't mention names, but they had the product was fine. It was good. Research showed that their product held up, but it was a small family-owned manufacturing company. Yeah. But they sold their product throughout the nation. Right. But the culture was so toxic. The father and son hated each other, and they even got into fights. And and they didn't really care about the clients so much. They just cared about selling. And there's so much infighting that there was another example where like, okay, I got to make a decision here, because like the product's good, but the people behind it, right? The people behind it, like I don't believe in them. Like I don't enjoy this culture, right? So we had to make a decision. Okay, what do we do with that? And it's hard to make those, you know, especially when you're a small marketing agency and you're like, okay, well, we can't just let go of every single company just because of one little, one thing or that thing. Yeah. We can't establish a business. So like I'm just sharing this to give that behind the scenes insights of how you have to, there's that fine line of how far, at what point do you click on that conscience or kind of like just dull it a little bit, turn the knob down a little bit. Or close our eyes, kind of like in marriage. Have you ever heard that? Like go into marriage or like when you're dating or engaged, go in with your eyes wide open. But then when you get married and you tie the knot, you go in with your eyes like half shut. All right. It's kind of like that. It's like, all right, I'm going with my eyes wide open. Let me understand your product. Let me understand your service. This is great. And then it's like, okay, now I'm going to close my eyes because now, there's a lot of behind the scenes things. There's a lot of things that you hear. Like, I didn't know that before. What am I supposed to do with that? Right? Do I cover it up? Do I not talk about that? Do we somehow spin this in a different way? Right?
I
mean, we see that even in politics. Yeah. We're in election season right now. Next week, right? Almost over. But like, how much like in PR and spinning the stories, or in politics, how much are they? Like we don't even know what they're saying is true, or they say things in a way. I remember I was with a research company one time, and they were trying to increase votes for one of their candidates. Okay. And they realized that of the market, the candidate that the market that they're losing were those who were more like the country folk, the southern type folk, right? Yeah. And so they came up with a campaign, and you know what they did? They had their candidate talk on the radio, like on a commercial, with NASCAR racing in the background. Right?
Yeah, dude.
All of a sudden, that base of the people started voted for him, and he won. Damn. So is it about anything of his policies, or the fact that like, oh right, yeah, this guy loves NASCAR just like me, right?
And then you can put that again. You can put that on the people, right? Yeah. Because on the one hand, it's like, dude, is that all it took? A little NASCAR, and you think he's the best thing since sliced bread?
Right.
Really? Mm-hmm. You deserve what you get. Or is it, hey, man, these folks are half paying attention. They're trying to pay their bills. They're taking care of their kids. They're just at McDonald's getting a damn dinner real quick. Yeah. And they kind of vaguely heard was that there might have been some of that in the background. And it's like, I guess the guy's all right. You took advantage. You took advantage. Like, you're dirty pool.
But that happens all the time. Yeah. Look at the two candidates. Do the people really know completely what they're voting for? Right. They have their own leanings, but we don't really know. And there's so much news out there. We don't even know what's true. We just go based off of our perception and who we think aligns best with us. Right. It's funny. I have a funny story. I recall we were in high school, senior year. And you know how they do the elections? They pick the president and all that, class president and stuff. Okay. And I remember I was in speech class, and they call us out, hey, everybody come to the auditorium. We're going to do our elections for class president. And so they had like 3 different people. One person gives their presentation, I'm going to make these policies better. Another candidate comes, a student, and shares her typical, speech. But then the last person, shout out to Ted Kim, he's an Asian guy, one of the only few Asians in this whole school. There's like 550 plus students in this majority white school. Right. And what does Ted Kim do? He speaks perfect English, by the way. He's like me. Yeah. But he's Korean. He's an Ohio boy, but born in America. Right. What does he do? He pulls out a gong, and he goes, gong. He hits the gong really loud. And he's like, oh, I'm Teddy Kim. And
my God, bro, what are you doing?
He takes a box of fortune cookies, and he throws these fucking fortune cookies all over the place. And people, I'm like, everyone's like, laughing, like, and we're like, what? And meantime, I'm the Asian, like, what are you doing? Like, this is not what we need, right? But dude, it was so memorable. Here I am, nearing 50, and I still remember that kid's speech.
That's heavy, man.
And guess who won? The ones who actually were serious, or the one who made a lasting impression. Before then, nobody really knew or cared about about him. Right. Like he wasn't like any. But then after that speech, and he's class president, and he was the talk of the school. So what a way to leave your senior year, but to leave with a gong,
Here's another sentiment. But related to that.
But point being is he knew his audience. He knew that the only way he was going to get anybody to want to vote for him is if he went in a Denver direction. Didn't base his election on any policies.
Right.
It's complete likability and memorability, and just almost making a mockery of the whole system.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't think we've had a really legit reunion. Right. I think that's on his plate. Right. I don't know if the class president does that, but that's beside the point. The point is he knew how to win the election, and that's what we're seeing today. Trump is just a grown-up Teddy Kim.
Right.
He is. Dude, hitting the gong, dude.
If he starts throwing force, that's a bridge too far, man. Yeah. What have you done, bro?
I remember being an Asian. I was sweating bullets. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
That's ridiculous.
But, man, everybody was just roared because all the student body. Right. We all think that this is so whatever. Who cares about this? What do class presidents do anyways? Right, I'm gonna make the lunch menu better. Who? Yeah, doesn't matter. Right, but when he did that, it's like, okay, you are stating what we are thinking. Yeah. That this is just a lame.
He was the Korean Trump. Of his day. So what it makes me think of is the at what price sentiment. Mm-hmm. Right. So at a certain point,
say that again.
So what it makes me think of is at a certain point, there's at what price, right? At what price are you going to do it, right? Because that really goes to a Trump situation. It sounds totally lines up, right?
Right.
Some of the things how can you say? It's where you can make a statement, and it's 99% will be taken the right way, I guess you could say, and 1% is so out of left field. They obviously misunderstood what you said. And so, in other words, it's totally a net positive.
Yeah.
However, the strategy politically, not only with Trump, but kind of across the board, especially in modern times, is they're not playing 99% righteous and 1% maybe you misunderstood. No, it's more like 60-40 these days, right? Where you're I don't think I really agree with that. But I'm talking about it. Right. I'm posting about it, or I'm super mad about it. Either which way, my name now. And it's golly, man, you could do that, but at what price?
At what price?
At what price?
Like I said, there's a dark side of marketing, right?
Yeah.
marketing and branding. But you look at like Trump. I mean, he is a marketing branding genius. He's an expert at what he does. Because before his election, when he was just a businessman, sure, he had enemies. Right. I'm sure. You know, you don't get there without making a few enemies. But he was liked on the both left and right side of the fence. Right. You know, he was liked by all the celebrities. He was no problem. Right. Everybody knew he was a bit flamboyant or what have you, and he had his own ways. He was, you know, but. You know, there was no huge talk about Trump and disliking Trump. In fact, a lot of people liked his shows. You know, what's the one, You're Fired?
Yeah, the Apprentice.
The Apprentice. I mean, that was a great show. Got a lot of viewers. People liked him. Right. But then once he entered an office, right, he had to choose, and once he chose which side and decided which side does he align with the most. Then he understood his audience, and he knew, okay, what's the best way to get a lot of these audience to not only vote for me, but be all in. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Well, he said he started, you know, these mantras, make America great again. Or what about when he got the attempted, what do you call that? Assassination.
Yeah. I mean, screaming, fight, and everything.
Instead of running, what is he literally is telling everybody stop, because he knows there's an opportunity here.
He's doing it for the gram at that point.
Yeah,
right. Like,
and he goes up with blood trickling down, and you see that in the commercial. I don't know if you've seen the commercials, but it ends with him like fight. Like he knew that's a marketer. Yeah. But again. Is that good? Is that bad? What's the intent there, right? Yeah. But it's gonna stir. He knows it's gonna stir up his core base, right? Yeah, But we see that not only there, we see it in a lot of different industries. Pharma, you mentioned.
Oh my God, yeah.
You see that in credit cards. I mean, how many times these credit cards? You know how much mailers, credit card companies send out to people? Do you ever stop and wonder, like, how much money are they spending?
In the mailers.
And the mailers.
And the pollution. I'm not here to save the whales, but like if you stopped all those mailers, I get like 2-3 a week.
Yeah. But why do they do that? It's because they know that if they get a certain percentage, small percentage, I'm sure, to actually open it up, sign up for the credit card, and then go in debt for years, that the lifetime value of that client is well worth the cost of those mailers.
Dude.
Knowing the full well these people are going into debt. They're not saying, oh, we're going to give them this credit card so that they can be able to live this free life. No, we want you to spend it up and then we own you.
Yeah. And then you're already corrupted by it. Right. You're desperate. Like I'm watching Peaky Blinders. I'm rewatching Peaky Blinders. And like to a man and a woman, everybody they touch is just like tainted now. You know, they all got blood on their hands, and it hits different this time because I don't know why. I'm just looking at it like it's so dark.
Yeah,
it's so dark, and oh man, yeah. At what price?
At what price?
At what price, Bar?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, this is Halloween season, right? And I think this is a good topic, just talking about how spooky marketing can be and branding.
Yeah, how evil.
Yeah. You know, and obviously not every marketer is evil or anything like that. No. I don't think that's a lot of their intention.
The vast majority are not.
But there often is a line that can be crossed. Yeah. You know, and you got to know. You got to have those hard conversations with the staff and with the company. And like, well, what's that line? Right. How far do we go?
Yeah. You know? Yeah, that's a wild. Yeah. That gets back to culture, right? That gets back to the kind of people you are and what you want to represent. I wonder what that dynamic is in the company too. You know what I mean? Because we're saying like, I don't know, the Oxycontins of the world and all these kinds of things. It seems like the whole entire corporation, from CEO to janitor, is just a corrupted, just pile of shit, and it's not redeemable at all, right?
Yeah.
But then again, it's like, well, maybe also you're talking about massive corporations, right? And maybe it's just this one little vein, this little channel of business. Everything else is going along just fine. But all of a sudden, this one is like, the vein of gold.
Mm-hmm.
And you hit it, and you're like, and then somebody comes with a little secret, like, hey, we found a study that this is, it's really hurting people. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
We're about to make a mint. And you know what I mean? So it's the one person or the two or three people.
Yeah.
And everybody else is just kind of like, maybe they're a little bit more ignorant to it. Maybe it's like, hey, we're doing the right thing. And they believe in the inner hype of the culture of the company.
But what are they supposed to do, though? I mean, is like the alcoholic companies, when they're trying to sell their product, are they supposed to make it look like it's bad?
I mean, all right. So then,
which, by the way, a good example of that is, remember NWA?
Yeah.
And their CDs?
Yeah.
Their albums?
The parental advisory sticker.
So what do? Okay, look, we got to put the parental advisory sticker on that. Yeah. What happened when they did that?
Went up.
People, they sold more.
Up. It's even better. More. I know, I looked for those.
Right? Like, oh, okay.
This must be really good.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, what are you supposed to do?
What can you do?
Right.
Yeah. People are gonna.
People are people.
People are gonna people. And if they want the bad stuff,
they're gonna find the bad stuff. And then if you promote it, kind of like, don't look up. Don't look up. Right. Like, don't look up. Right? You're gonna look up. Right. Right. Yeah. So then, like, how much do you want to bring attention to it? Yeah. Vapes. Oh man, talk about that.
Endless. Look at every end of freaking building. My kids notice it, right? Because like, I don't know what's going on. I guess that's just all over the country. But bro, out here they got like the super duper bright white lights.
Yeah,
right around
outlining.
The thing. And it's like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yep.
Who are you selling this to? Like, what is this? It looks insane.
But now it's like, I mean, you make the nicotine flavored, like you're basically breathing like flavored air. Right. So it seems, but it's so dangerous for you.
So dangerous.
Right?
Yeah.
And yet, and then ever since, what was the very first one that came out? Their whole premise for bringing that out was to try to help people stop smoking.
Right.
Because you could smoke it, and then eventually you could go less, and you get away, right?
But was it, though?
But was it? Because it took off.
Yeah.
It took off.
Sure
Juuls.
Did. Juuls, that's right.
Right. Yeah. It took off. And then now, kids, the youth, it's an easy way to sneak in cigarettes while you're at school.
Right.
You know?
And then meanwhile, all over the world, I'm sure it's not just necessarily America, but the Western world for sure. Like, yeah, they can't even run up the goddamn flight of stairs, right? With the right, everybody's just a hot mess. So it's like, eat this sugar, don't read a book, vape this stuff, and
then be addicted to your phone. And
be stuck on
TikTok.
the phone. You can't talk to anybody. Look them in the eye, like, bro.
So where was this? When did a slippery slope happen? Maybe when the dawn of TV. Do you think that's when it happened?
But here, all right, to go way back, if you think, I mean, the term snake oil salesman, right? That's nothing new, man. There's been plenty of times throughout human history, right, where like we're trying to get over on our fellow man, right? Is it more pervasive? Is it maybe easier to get to the masses?
Yeah.
Sure. But no, I think it. How am I trying to say it? I think that it just like elevated and magnified what already existed. And since the dawn of time, man, people have been trying to sell horse shit to people and call it gold. And I just, like I started with in the beginning, it's just a dark part of a. It is a dark part of a. I'll go out on a limb and say a poorly developed character of a human being, right? So it's like, because if you're trying to live in a decent way, there are lines you won't cross. You will make that known, and you're not going to take that money, right? But eventually, it would appear as though everybody's got a price.
Unfortunately.
Everybody's got a price.
And the thing is, in a capitalistic society, right?
It's your free choice.
Where everybody's trying to come up with the newer, the better, the most innovative product, idea, service, what have you, so we could make more and more money, so then we could get a higher valuation of that company and then sell it off, right? That's capitalistic thinking. So what are we going to do? We're going to do whatever it takes to get as many eyeballs on this product so we can sell more and more and more of this. Right? It's for what? For my own gain and the gain of our shareholders.
Couple shekels. Right. Yeah. Just like Tommy Shelby, right? Just like the scene. I forget. I don't even know what episode I'm on. But as he's he's losing everything. It's all falling apart. It's all on fire, and he's walking to his big mansion. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares about the mansion?
Yeah.
Kid hates you. You're this. You're that. You're this. Like, it's all gone. Right. You've set it all on fire, all for a couple bucks.
Yep. At what price?
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn. Well, that was dark.
That was. That was.
Happy Halloween, man.
Right. Happy Halloween.
All right. So we'll get out of here on that, I think, right?
Yep.
All right. From the iconic era of advertising to the digital age, I'm Chris.
And I'm Ernie.
Keep it legendary.